Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, here we go then.
Am I allowed to talk about the process?
I said it out loud.
I can't talk about that.
I've locked it all away, like in a vault, in an internal vault.
This will be on after the movie comes out, so.
I know.
Good. Fantastic. Thank you.
We can talk about it, by the way.
Seriously?
And then when I do all the interviews, don't say anything then.
I just remember thinking, oh my God, we are about to shoot this thing and I'm not ready.
You don't realize you start working on a Star Wars movie just how daunting that could be. And we were very lucky to find some great people, but the truth is, it wasn't until we found Daisy that we just felt like she was capable of doing all of these things this character required.
Where am I?
You're my guest.
When we brought her in, I asked her to do this one scene, sort of this torture scene, very sort of intense, and she just blew my mind. She's reaching this depth of struggle, and tears were streaming down her face. I thought, this is unbelievable. And I asked her to stop, gave her a couple of adjustments, do it again, and she did it again, and I thought, oh my God.
I guarantee he would have disappointed you.
Get out of my head. The conversation was kind of JJ like really explaining to me how things would change and if I felt supported and what have you. And he wanted to know about my background because we hadn't really talked about my family.
He asked me whether I was ready, and he was like, do you realize how much of a big responsibility this is?
And walk forward, please.
He said to me, are you sure you want this? And I was like, if you believe in me, then I think I'm okay with that because I think you're pretty cool and pretty good at what you do.
He goes, well, you're the new star of Star Wars. And then everything stopped.
You know when like you're waiting for something and then the words actually come and you're like, okay.
He just said, I'm the new star of Star Wars. And he was like, no, don't react, breathe.
JJ had said you can tell your parents. So I got in and my sister and my mum were there and I was like, I got Star Wars. And then it was like, oh my God. So yeah, but I couldn't sleep that night at all.
It was really, really hard just going through normal life without saying I was cast in Star Wars.
But yeah, that is the story of how it happened.
I just want to say the obvious, which is that we are here on day one of Star Wars Episode 7.
You're here.
How incredible is that?
I just remember I was told that, oh, Daisy's doing her first scene. So I was just like, okay, let me go down and go see it.
What was the first scene when I was scrubbing the thing? My arm was aching.
I know, I was just relaxing and you were just working so hard. And you were just there like this.
My arm was aching and I kept not being able to get it right.
Oh yeah?
My God.
When we got the first actual scene, it was exciting to see what she was doing and to hear her interaction with JJ. Here it is. These are the dailies from the first day of the new Star Wars film.
This is where Daisy's character lives, and we're getting ready to shoot her outside of her AT-AT home. We've built as much of it as we could afford, and we have a lot to get in the little time we have at dusk, so wish us luck. If you could put it on because it sort of like makes you feel good, you sort of like in a weird way relate to what the rebellion did. When you put it on, it feels like you settle in more, almost.
Okay.
When you put it on.
Abu Dhabi was really hard at the beginning. I'd obviously never worked on this scale on anything. And because the first day was just me, it felt like quite a lot of pressure.
Action, Daisy!
My God, you could literally feel the sand burning through your shoes, which was crazy.
What you brought me today is worth 1/4 portion.
It's about 40 degrees, I guess, so it's hot in there, but it's Star Wars. I'd burn for Star Wars.
We might, in that wood jumper.
In Abu Dhabi, it was more cardio than anything else. And so a few weeks before the Abu Dhabi shoot, we were on the treadmill doing interval running. And what that did was just copied what happens on set. We would run super fast. We'd be running with the camera, a 20-second take. We'd breathe for a bit, and JJ would be like, let's go again.
Not this way!
And cut.
Without the guys we were training with, there's just no way. Neither me or John would have been able to get through Abu Dhabi. Keep me in shape, keeping the girls. It was really hard. The actual hardest bit was when it was soft sand, hard sand, and one of the last runs was just a mix of the two, and that's just like a killer on the legs. Like, it was almost a relief when there was explosions, because you knew like there was only so many times that you could do the running.
3, 2, 1. Boom, bang! We go, set, good energy, background action, and action BB-8. We just ran BB-8 from the gates to escape from the TIE fighter attack, and I wasn't quite expecting that today.
It was very conscious on our part that there would be a new droid who's a major part of the story. And he's funny and sweet.
I didn't go through the film thinking, oh, this is going to be iconic. Oh, BB-8's like our version of R2. I never really thought of it like that. I was just like, oh, you're so cute.
And as you're walking, you want to kind of glance at him, sort of slightly annoyed that he's convinced you to take him.
He was the first character I had real scenes with, and I was nervous because it's not a human being. But because of the puppeteers, he comes alive.
Dave's doing the head, and Brian's doing the LEDs on the body, and I've got the drive system of it.
This version of BB-8 is the puppet version, and he is fundamentally a rod puppet, and I have control of him here. I can just do the gross body movement on the ball. And this has been the model we've used most of all, as you get a really instant and organic performance with it.
What about the droid?
What about him? I asked JJ if I could have a bit more with BB-8 because I think it's such a nice bond, it's such a nice relationship. He's this talisman, I guess, that is the first constant that Rey has ever had. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. You've been spectacular. It's been the most fun, the greatest adventure. I cannot believe that we've done the shoot here in Abu Dhabi. We can't thank you enough. We owe you forever. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
I'm literally shaking. Like, this is insane.
I told you were in Star Wars.
I just remember running up the ramp, just giggling. I went through that whole place, messing it all up. And all the props people and the guys on set were just kind of like, okay, can you control him? Because I started running, I went to the cockpit. You know, that little ball thing, the Jedi training ball. I got that out, I started rolling that around. Oh, it was so fun.
And action!
We're not kidding here. This is serious stuff, and we wanted it to be right.
You have all these things that are going on in your head, but that really goes away when you're staring across from that other person.
The unique and very deeply emotional and troubling way in which Han Solo meets his fate, I thought gives incredible opportunity and helps realize the full potential of the character that Adam Driver plays.
He was so generous that there really wasn't much I had to do other than respond to him.
I don't even want to think how people are going to react to that.
It was a necessary component. This is not just the Force Awakens in a young woman. This is the dark side of the Force awakening in the villain.
Skellig was the first meeting of Rey and Luke, and so late on, there's such a big build-up.
There's a real ambiguity as to what his reaction is. I think he has great reservations. He's really conflicted. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
While this was never his story, this movie, it was all about him. It was all about how critical Luke is to the continuation of this amazing story. So what I'm most excited about is the story of Luke Skywalker and where it goes.
If it weren't for the fans, we wouldn't be sitting here. And I've never forgotten that.
The other day, I was looking at that original poster, and I was remembering there was something about Star Wars that made me feel like anything was possible, that like when you see that star field, it felt like every point of light was a story.
The value that people place in these stories is deep and abiding. These stories have been passed down in families from generation to generation. It becomes valuable as a family experience, and so it's passed on, like family history.
We'll see each other